Tomato side shoots. What should you do with them? You've probably heard about pinching out, but can they be put to good use? That's what we're going to discuss in today's video on Green Tips Garden. Removing the side shoots is an easy job, especially if you do it first thing during the day while the side shoots are still crisp, because as the day goes on, the heat will cause them to go limp and soft, so they're harder to remove. If you can't just snap them off, obviously cut them off so as to avoid tearing and damaging the tomato plant. As you're removing these side stems, you also want to make sure to not confuse them with the flower truss. Otherwise you're going to lose the fruit producing potential of the tomato plant, so be careful. The reason we need to remove these side stems is to do with the nature of the tomato plant. There are two kinds of tomato plants. There are determinate tomatoes, or bush tomatoes as they're also known. Now these don't need the side shoots pinching out or pruning, because they form a bush. They'll get to a certain point, produce their fruits, and they're a fixed size, whereas indeterminate tomatoes will carry on growing. They're a vining plant, and so the tomato plant will put a lot of energy into increasing these side shoots. So by taking out the side shoots, you keep the plant compact, and you also get it to focus its energy on producing the flowers and the fruit. But what can we do with these side shoots that we've removed? Well, we can use these to take tomato cuttings. Now I've heard it said that these side shoots, although they're behind the main parent plant, so will produce flowers and fruit later on in the season, I have heard that because they're taken from an already established plant, that they are more vigorous. So I can't personally vouch for that, and this is really just an experiment that I'm trying out here. So I've lined up all my stems, and you can see that I've got a number of pieces of varying lengths. Now some of them are really long, some of them are very short, so I don't want to use all of these. The ones that I want to use are about 6 inches long, and so I'm going to reduce my choice down to those ones. And we also want to make sure that preparing the stems for cutting, to remove any excess leaves. We want to reduce the plant's moisture loss while we're waiting for them to form roots. I have here my home compost. Because of the current situation, I wasn't able to get any compost from the garden centre, and I just making a hole with my finger, or you can use a dibber, and then firming in around them. Now you probably noticed they're looking a little bit limp here, because as I said earlier, I'm not doing this first thing in the morning, but tomato plants are usually really good at drawing up water, so once I've potted them and bagged them up, they'll be fine. And the ones that I'm using here are Alicante and Gardener's Delight. And this one, I've obviously damaged it when I cut it off, so I don't want to use that because that may just rot off. So I've taken another one here. So we put them in around the edge of the pot, because this is the position where the balance of water, soil, air and heat are best for rooting. So I've now placed them all around my pot, and again they root really easily. No rooting hormone is needed. Now again, to reduce water loss while we're waiting for these plants to root, I'm going to put them into a food bag. So this keeps the humidity high for the plants, so it then reduces the stress on the plants while they're developing roots. And just pull up that food bag and tie it off in a loose knot. Now you may periodically want to just open the bag to just release any excess humidity, just in case it gets any rot off. So you need to keep these in a bright position and out of direct sunlight. So after 9 days, I took them out of the food bags to give them an inspection. And as I mentioned, this was an experiment, and unfortunately where I left them they just got a small amount of bright daylight, and that may be why I have a varying result from the two pots of cuttings that I've taken. And if you look here, you can just about see at 1 o'clock in that hole of the pot there that there's a tiny root just poking out, but none of the others. So these still need a little bit more time. I have mollycoddled them, so again they're still looking a little bit limp, but they're okay. Quite tough. Oh, pulled one out. Hang on a second. So if you have a look here, although I pulled it out by accident, you can actually see if it focuses. Yep, there, look. Can you see those small roots that are beginning to develop? So I'm just going to pop that one back in, firm it in, not too forcefully. And as I said, these just need a little bit more time to develop those roots. I think in retrospect, if I was taking these cuttings and I was trying to do it seriously, I would have put them in individual pots so that when they have developed roots, they don't need to be disturbed. And this is my second group of cuttings. Trying to do this one-handed. And let's have a look at the roots here. Oh yeah, so you can see this plant has been less stressed, and as a result it's put more energy into developing some roots there. They look very happy, or at least happier than the previous ones. I'm still not ready to knock those out, but we'll wait for them to develop a few more roots because I'd like to see more roots coming out of the bottom there. So this is just a brief video that shows you what you can do with those side shoots that you removed. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button. And I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers to help monetize this channel. So if you can click subscribe, that would really help out. And if you'd like to be kept up to date with my latest posts, don't forget to click the bell and you'll receive that notification. Thanks for listening to Green Tips Garden.